Hi everyone, welcome back to another gameplay of Infinitode 2. So today guys, I will be sharing with you some more tests and results of things I've been trying out on the new 1.9 update. And once again, just trying to answer to many players' questions and just to try to give you an overall overview and strategy, how to approach Endless, like how to best do 6.3 to try to explode it, and yeah, just trying to understand a little bit more this new update. Now, as I said on my last video, these are all tests that I don't recommend you to take them as absolutes, because I'm pretty sure that there are some bugs going on, especially on 6.3 on the loop mechanics, because it's just too inconsistent. There are some bugs also happening very clearly, like freezing, being able to slow down bosses and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure that when new minor updates will come out, when some of these issues will be solved, then maybe some more tests done at that stage of the game will be able to give us a bit more and accurate information. But nonetheless, I hope that with these results I can share with you some things to be able to discover, and yeah, hopefully you can take them as information. You can maybe do your own tests and then try to figure out what how to best approach the game, what to do best. Now the first question is actually regarding BDDR drop rate. So how much now does BDDR drop rate affect the legendary loot? Does it affect it as it was before? Does it not affect it at all? And now very quickly here I'm going to show you this map pretty much that I did. I also did a video where I just compared at different points of loot frequency and rarity. See right there how much BDDR drop rate affected the loot, and especially regarding 0 and 50, so going from no BDDR drop rate to maximum. I didn't check the middle levels, it was just to try to understand the impact of it. Now you can see that at the highest levels of the frequency and rarity, of course, loot being only legendary using the short strategy. These are all things done before 1.9, which I already discovered. But anyway, you can see that the importance was that with BDDR drop rate level 0, by gaining more legendary items, because by earning less BDDR, remember, is considered a legendary drop. So that means that, like, if you earn more BDDR, you're earning BDDR rather than earning legendary loot, like keys, like blueprints, like chests, like tiles, like platforms. So things instead that you need, especially like tiles and the platforms, things that you need on cast maps. And so by gaining less BDDR, you also gain more legendary things, because the legendary loot that you would gain, rather than being converted into BDDR, is converted into actually legendary loot. And so this additional legendary loot that you earn actually translates directly into more prestige tickets. In this case, this was with double gain, because at that stage when I did this research, it couldn't be disabled. But just imagine all these numbers like halved, and this, remember, this was just one single run. So it wasn't even considering like multiple runs, like 4, 5, 10, 20 runs. So imagine like being able to earn 1.8 thousand prestige tickets more just from one run. In this way, like, you can complete and you can get loot frequency and rarity 100 a lot more quickly if you leave the drop rate level 0. So this was what happened before, and this happened at all levels. You can see that at lower loot rarity levels, still it was better to go for no BDDR drop rate. And even at 60 to 20, it was still, even though it was just slightly, but it was better to go for no BDDR drop rate. Now I did some more tests here on 1.9, and I did in this case 2 main tests. I did with loot frequency maxed out and loot rarity level 77, which is the level that makes the loot become only legendary. These are the rules that I used for this particular gameplay. So started the Infinite Miner on Scholar, and then Crusher. Then at 630, placing the bottom Infinite Miner and then selling the previous miner and Crusher, upgrading the miner up to level 5, then going for the core mining speed, and then I bring my splash up to level 8, and then ending at 1130. So it was like 5 active minutes of farming. And now you can see here that these are the things. So no overload, I didn't use overload, I didn't use double gain, endless was maxed, so the speed of the miner was maxed, my towers were maxed, 100% difficulty. So it was just something to see, like at different levels of frequency and rarity, and then changing the bidders drop rate, how much that would affect the actual drops. And on the first test, so with higher levels of frequency and rarity, you can see that the bidders that I earned were more, of course, with bidders drop rate maxed out. But also the legendary things, the legendary drops that I got were also less. So bidders drop rate at the higher levels, it seems to be affecting the legendary loot by around 10%. So again, this number might be, in certain runs, it might be a little bit higher, certain runs might be a little bit lower. I think it's around 10%, around that amount. And remember, this 10% means that you're earning less legendary loot, which you need to then convert it into prestige tickets, because the main goal of the game is to be able to max out loot frequency and rarity. Remember that loot rarity, the more rarity you get, as you can see here, the more, it doesn't really change the amount of bidders you earn, but it does changes the secondary items you earn in terms of legendary. For example, you earn a lot more of the 100 percentiles, right? You earn less of the lower tier tiles, you earn more of the 100 percentiles, you earn also a bit less platforms and chests also directly, and also a bit less sources. So that's what happens once you keep upgrading loot rarity after level 77. Now that being said, if we go back to the main screen right here, the difference is significant. Now, I also did some more tests, and I wanted to say, okay, what about when loot frequency and loot rarity are much lower? So like loot frequency 62 and loot rarity 20. And now the results here were so odd that I had to run 2 tests. Like I had to do 2 games to make sure that it wasn't just a fluke, wasn't just a bug. But the results still are pretty like weird because of the fact that at bidders proper level 0, I got 18 bidders and then 62 legendary drops. At bidder drop rate level 50, I got a ton more of bidders, like almost 10 times more. But then I also got a little bit more legendary loot. And this makes no sense, right? Because if you just look at these numbers, then you would expect that like you would earn a little bit less, legendary loot. But yeah, it seems that this is not the case. Again, I don't know if this is just maybe a bug on 6.3 or some more mechanics. Maybe by increasing loot frequency and loot rarity, maybe there is a certain point, a certain switch where bidders drop rate starts affecting more the rarity of the loot. I don't know, but yeah, it was just weird results. So this is an actual average between 2 different games, because I just couldn't understand the results. And yeah, so this is it. So because it's very weird. So yeah, I can't really explain it, but other than that, the thing that I was able to see is that on this latest update, bidders drop rate seems, because remember, these are all like questions, like these are not absolutes. I'm not sure this actually is the truth or is actually affects and how the game works. This is how I've been able to see based on these tests. So bidders drop rate seems to affect the amount of legendary loot at later stages of loot frequency rarity. So the higher loot frequency rarity you get, the more it seems that bidders drop rate affects your loot. So you get less legendary loot because you earn more bidders. But these are lower stages, it seems that it's not really so. So again, if this is how Rainy, so the developer of the game, intended things to be, then this means that it's definitely good to try to get bidders drop rate upgraded, maxed out as you keep upgrading loot frequency rarity. So as you have pretty low levels of loot frequency rarity, but you want to have bidders drop rate very high, so in that way you're earning both bidders, but you're also earning more or the same amount of legendary loot. So you're not really losing anything. So it's always better to get bidders drop rate upgraded. Then as you start approaching higher levels of loot frequency, and I would have to test like between loot frequency 100 and like loot rarity level 20. So what happens at that point once you capped out loot frequency? So what happens here? But then as you get closer and closer to higher levels, then that's probably when you might wanna like reset bidders drop rate, or maybe just reduce it by a lot, like maybe just keep it level 5, level 10, so that in that way you can minimize the impact that it has on legendary loot. You can just maximize the legendary loot you earn, you can earn more prestige tickets, and you can just max out loot then a rarity as quickly as possible. So yeah, these are the results of the things I've been able to see. Now, another thing I was testing is also the usage of overload. So is it better to go with overload? Is it not better to go with overload? So what is best? And I tested the bits per second efficiency. And you can see that by using overload, I placed a miner at 630 until 840, which was pretty much when I exhausted the loot. And the bits, the efficiency, so the amount of bits per second, was 22.63. Instead, when using no overload, placing the miner at 630 and then playing until 1130, which was almost like the same amount of loot collected, right? So just exhausting the loot, you can see that the efficiency was very similar, 22.58. So there wasn't really that much difference. So between using overload and not using overload, like there is no really, at least from what I was able to see, there seems to be no difference between using it or not. But of course, when you use it, you need to play less long. You just need to play until 840, so that's like around 2 minutes and 15 of total gameplay. Instead, when you don't use overload, of course, you need more time to collect all the loot and all that stuff. So even though the efficiency, so the bits per second, it's actually the same or very similar, but you need to play for longer. So of course, this means that it might be always best to use overload, because in that way you can just play for less time. You have almost the same amount of efficiency and you play for less long, so you can just do more gameplays because you are just saving like 3 minutes of in-game time for every gameplay. And so you can do more games in real time. And yeah, that was just the two things I was able to see on by testing up the game. So yeah, let me know, guys, your suggestions or what you think about these findings, or if you also have been doing some tests yourself. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching and see ya. Bye bye.